I really gotta make a video about Day at the Races. That was such a good VHS. But anyways. In the hindsight, 2022 was a pretty okay year for NASCAR. The next-gen car performed pretty well, we got to see some great races, and for the first time in several years we have safety concerns. My favorite! I honestly think 2022 was actually a pretty good year. I mean, 2021 got the ball rolling, and 2022 kind of solidified that NASCAR is on the up and up, even with some hiccups here and there. I feel like this season was actually a great year all across the board. Cookie cutter tracks were interesting, the road courses were pretty good, short track racing was phenomenal, and the super speedways were pretty competitive. At the beginning of 2022, I made a predictions list of the 20 predictions I had coming into the season. But before I can go on to make my 2023 predictions video, which should be coming soon, I need to make my results for my 2022 predictions. Basically, finish this candy bar before I open up a new one. Along with like the 30 other candy bars I still have yet to finish. And this is the very first time I'm actually making a results video. I didn't make results for 2019. So I'm going to talk to you real quick about how I'm going to grade myself. Basically, if I get under 20 points, it's a failure. But if I manage to get over 20 points, it's a success. Now I know what you might be thinking, but you only have 20 predictions. But keep in mind, I also had 20 bonus predictions. So, I'm basically grading myself from 0% to 100%. Basically, I got a point if I was correct, and no point if I wasn't correct. But if I was partially correct, I'd get half a point. And I'll kind of explain to it when we get to that point. So with the cheesy intro out of the way and a little bit of an explanation, let's go back to where we were earlier, well, actually last year, and talk about my 2022 predictions and how they turned out. Prediction number 1, at least 75% of the NASCAR races in 2022 will have a higher rating compared to their 2021 counterparts. For the bonus point, the majority of the non-rain delayed races that have lower ratings compared to 2021 will be playoff races. Interestingly enough, ratings were actually kind of stagnant compared to 2021. My guess is that it's probably because NBC decided to switch off to USA, which is like a channel nobody watches, and that kind of hammered the second half of the ratings. But pretty interestingly enough, the playoff races actually didn't have that many races that were really low ranking. I was honestly kind of surprised. Playoffs still suck though. Prediction number 2. The Clash at the LA Coliseum will be a success, and NASCAR will come back to the LA Coliseum for a Clash race in 2023. For the bonus point, Chase Elliott will win the Clash. Yep. This was the very first Clash in a long time I was actually interested in. And honestly, this is a great idea, and I hope NASCAR kind of expands on stadium racing a little bit more. I mean, I keep having the idea of racing at Fenway Park, and I thought that'd be a really cool concept, but overall, pretty good race. Even though Chase Elliott didn't win, but hey, I had fun. Also, if you were wondering who the furry was in the 100K Cams episode, that was me, Lamau. Prediction number 3. Kyle Larson will have a heavy post-championship hangover, only scoring 2 wins throughout the season. But for the bonus point, he will still make the Final Four. I almost got both points! My goodness! If Ross and AJ managed to work together, they probably would have put on a great battle for the win, but of course they didn't. And then of course Custer had to help Briscoe out at the Roval. But regardless, the fact that Custer got penalized for helping out his own teammates when Chase did the same thing the year prior and got nothing is absolutely ludicrous. Prediction number 4. There will be 3 first-time winners in 2022. For the bonus point, those drivers will be Ty Dillon, Chase Briscoe, and Daniel Suarez. So this is the first partially correct point. Basically, I predicted there was going to be 3 first-time winners, and we ended up getting 5. So, I mean, I kind of underestimated, which is better than overestimating, so yeah. But then the most hilarious part about this prediction is after that, I said this. And for any of you that are going to be saying, what about Austin Cindric? Normally a major Xfinity driver in their rookie season doesn't really go too well, so I'm not putting expectations too high for the moment. And the worst part of all of this is, I don't even get the bonus point because for some reason I had any hope in Ty Dillon actually winning something. Prediction number 5. In exchange for M&M's leaving NASCAR, we will be seeing another big-time sponsor return to the sport. For the bonus point, Nabisco will be coming back to sponsor.
You know, maybe this is a sign that making sponsorship predictions really isn't a good idea, because I never really set a deadline for this sponsor being announced. I mean, the season's still young. Maybe halfway through the season, Nabisco will now still be coming back. So, it's still a possibility, but I'm going to go ahead and give myself a half point for both of them because I really don't know what to say.
Prediction number 6. Brad Keselowski will go winless in 2022. But for the bonus point, he will still make the playoffs.
Man, I knew he was going to fall off in his first season as an owner driver, but not this hard. I mean, I was expecting he was going to maybe finish 15th or 16th in points heading into the playoffs, but nope. But I already know RFK Racing is going to be a lot better heading into 2023, as both Buescher and Keselowski showed a lot of promise in the latter half of the season. So, hey, maybe Brad might make the playoffs in 2023. Who knows?
Prediction number 7. Eric Jones will win the Daytona 500. For the bonus point, he will sweep Daytona.
Both races, he was up there competing for the win, and both times he gets wrecked out. The first time, because Larson was pushing too hard on Harvick, causing both of them to wreck. And the second time, Almirola pushed too hard into Jones. Ah, come on, man. One of these days.
Prediction number 8. Both Talladega races will have a double yellow line controversy. For the bonus point, NASCAR will reluctantly get rid of it for 2023.
The double yellow line was surprisingly tame this year. The only time it really happened where we had someone get penalized was Christopher Bell at Atlanta, and that was kind of justified, but overall, not too bad. But we can still get rid of the double yellow line rule. Come on, man. Come on, NASCAR. Come on, man.
Prediction number 9. At one of those Talladega races, Michael McDowell will upset. For the bonus point, it's going to happen at the spring Talladega race.
For the most part, McDowell wasn't really much of a factor throughout the race. It was mostly Bubba, Larson, and Jones that was dominating the majority of the race. But overall, I was kind of expecting McDowell to actually pull off a big win, especially with the new car. But, I mean, he's always incredibly well at the super speedways, so maybe one of these days he'll stumble into a second win. Who knows?
Prediction number 10. Kevin Harvick will not make the playoffs. For the bonus point, everyone else on Storehouse will make the playoffs.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't rooting for Harvick at the Michigan race. But overall, I mean, it was a lot better of a year for Harvick. Even though it's kind of obvious his age is catching up to him, and it's most likely that this is kind of a fluke and that he's not going to be as dominant as he was before. But overall, it was a pretty good year. P.S. Why did I have any hope in Custer winning a race?
Prediction number 11. The champion will not win the last race of the season. For the bonus point, that winner will be Kurt Busch.
That was incredibly depressing to hear. Anyways, Ryan Blaney gave it his absolute all in the closing laps, and honestly, if he had a couple more laps, he probably would have overran Logano. But overall, I mean, one of these years we gotta see someone aside from the champion win that race.
Prediction number 12. We will see the record for the most amount of cautions at the Indy Roval race. For the bonus point, NASCAR will return to the oval layout in 2023.
I didn't realize that the race was actually only 95 laps when I made that prediction, but yeah, I was way off. But overall, I think the Indy Roval race this year wasn't too bad, but it was still kind of a wreck fest. And NASCAR is in talks of returning to the oval in the future, but we're still racing on the oval in 2023, so no point.
Prediction number 13. We will see a catch fence crash at one of the super speedways. For the bonus point, it's going to be Ross Chastain at Fall Talladega.
Oh, don't you just love loopholes? I said there was going to be a catch fence crash at one of the super speedways, but I didn't say it was going to happen in the Cup Series. Whew! It was like I was predicting Snyder's crash. Also, it's kind of hilarious that I predicted Chastain would crash into a track he ended up winning at. So.
Prediction number 14. Bubba Wallace will win 3 races, and for the bonus point, he will win the All-Star race.
He probably should have won 3 races. I mean, he was close to winning the 500 and had a really good car in Michigan, but overall, he's nowhere near done. And I have a feeling he's going to have a really good season in 2023. Maybe that's the year he's going to win 3 races. I mean, 2311 in general is going to be really good in 2023, especially with Reddick on the team now.
Prediction number 15. The drivers with the most wins heading into Phoenix will not make the Final Four. For the bonus point, it's going to be Denny Hamlin with 8 wins.
Nope, it was Chase Elliott with 5 wins, and he made the Final Four. And honestly, I'm kind of glad that this year we didn't have someone completely laminate the field with getting like dozens of wins. So, I mean, 5 wins in the season, still pretty good, but it wasn't like a driver was insanely dominant, which makes Logano a lot more worthy of a champion since he really had to earn it.
Prediction number 16. Matt DiBenedetto will win a truck race. For the bonus point, it's going to happen at Bristol.
Well, after all this time, Burrito Man finally did it. Even though it happened to be at Talladega in a pretty controversial way, I'm still glad for him that he finally managed to get a win after all this time and struggle and so many chances slipping from his hands. He's probably not going to be super dominant in the truck series, but I think he's going to be definitely getting a couple wins from here and there.
Prediction number 17. Hendrick Motorsports will sweep around in the playoffs. For the bonus point, it's going to be the round of 16 with Larson at Darlington, Elliott at Kansas, and Bowman at Bristol.
Honestly, I prefer the Jones, Bubba, and Buescher round of 16 we end up getting. But, I mean, aside from Talladega and Homestead, Hendrick wasn't really much of a factor for the majority of the playoffs. I mean, Elliott kind of snuck in a little bit because, I mean, he already got enough dominance in the early parts of the season. So, I mean, overall,
Prediction number 18. ESPN will announce they will be returning to NASCAR for 2024. For the bonus point, they will announce their broadcasting window will be from the Coke 600 to the August Michigan race.
Another example of something I really shouldn't be predicting because, I mean, it still could happen. It just hasn't happened just yet. But, I mean, SRX is coming to ESPN, so I'm kind of hyped about that. And also the fact they're coming to Berlin. Let's go!
Prediction number 19. Both Nashville Fairgrounds and North Wilkesboro will be confirmed to be returning to the Cup Series in 2025. For the bonus point, Nashville Fairgrounds is going to replace Spring Dover, and North Wilkesboro is going to be replacing Fall Kansas.
Yep, both tracks are for sure going to be on the schedule in 2025, with North Wilkesboro coming back this year, which is honestly exciting, but I do think it's a little bit too early for that. But I'm going to give myself a half point for the bonus point because while the Nashville Fairgrounds race is planning on replacing the Bristol Dirt race, I mean, there still could be some schedule changes that might make North Wilkesboro a regular race after 2023, but who knows?
And finally, prediction number 20. My prediction for the NASCAR Cup Series champion in 2022 is going to be Alex Bowman. And for the bonus point, Noah Gragson will win the Xfinity Championship, and Chandler Smith will win the Truck Series Championship.
I really thought this was going to be Bowman's breakout season, especially how well he did at the end of 2021. But no, after his Las Vegas win, he wasn't really much of a factor. Then, of course, his injury at Texas that put him out for the rest of the season. And yeah. And then, of course, Gragson decided to completely fumble it in the Xfinity Championship. And same thing with Chandler. The second most wins on the season, and he finishes third. And that's it. Those are all 40 predictions I made at the beginning of 2022. And after a little bit of math, the final score for my 2022 predictions and how accurate I was only 7 were correct. And most of them were half points, so that was like partially correct. My goodness, I'm terrible at this. So yeah, those are my 2022 predictions. Overall, they did not age too well. Hopefully, when I talk about my 2023 predictions, they'll be a little bit better. I think I have more of a better feeling on what to expect heading into the season, especially since 2022 was a little bit more into the unknown. But now that I kind of understand how everything's going to work in 2023, hopefully next year we're going to be seeing a lot more accurate predictions. So until then, thank you guys so much for watching, and see you next time. I gotta go cry because of how terrible I am at predictions.